If there is a moment in your life that demands absolute honesty, it is this one. Not tomorrow. Not someday when you feel more spiritual. Not 5 years from now when you've had time to figure yourself out. It's now, because every delay is a choice, every hesitation is a declaration, and every compromise is a doorway. You can tell yourself you are confused, overwhelmed, tired, unlucky, burdened, or broken, but none of that changes the fact that right now there is a warning echoing through your life, a warning you've pretended not to hear: wake up, or be broken. Life is not softly tapping your shoulder anymore. It is shaking you, shouting into your bones, dragging your eyes open because you have allowed too many moments to pass while waiting for a sign that has been burning in front of you the entire time. Some people wait for miracles, others wait for disasters. Some wait for blessings, others wait for consequences. But in the end, everyone reaches the moment where God's warning stops being gentle and becomes thunder. You feel it in your failures, in your disappointments, in your conflicts, in the things that keep falling apart the moment you think you finally have control. You feel it in the way you keep repeating the same cycles, the same mistakes, the same emotional traps. You feel it in the restlessness that won't leave you alone at night. And you know the truth: this isn't random. This isn't unlucky. This isn't life being unfair. This is a wake-up call that has been building for a long time. There are people who hear God in blessings, and there are people who only hear Him in consequences. If the blessings didn't teach you, the consequences will. If the whispers didn't move you, the storms will. If grace didn't strengthen you, pressure will. And the truth you've been avoiding is that you are out of time to pretend you don't know what you're supposed to do. You do know. You've known for years. The problem isn't clarity, it's courage. The problem isn't confusion, it's commitment. You don't need another sign, another message, another sermon, another motivational quote. You need to stop lying to yourself. You need to stop waiting for permission to become who you know you're meant to be. You need to stop using your wounds as excuses and start using them as warnings. Because God isn't trying to hurt you. He's trying to wake you. But wake-up calls are always uncomfortable. They always disrupt your peace before they rebuild it. They always strip away illusions before they rebuild identity. They always break arrogance before they build purpose. You have spent too long trying to negotiate with the consequences of your own hesitation, trying to bargain with your potential like you have unlimited time, limitless chances, infinite tomorrows. But you don't. There is a clock on the opportunities you've been given. There is an expiration date on your excuses. And if you don't listen now, life will not move aside to accommodate your delays. It will move through you. It will crush the parts of you that needed to die, and if you resist too long, it will take with it the parts of you that could have lived. You say you want change, but you keep choosing comfort. You say you want growth, but you keep repeating the patterns that shrink you. You say you want purpose, but you cling to the distractions that drain you. And when life collapses, you act surprised, when in reality, it's the most predictable outcome imaginable. You cannot serve your weakness and expect strength. You cannot worship your fears and expect courage. You cannot cling to your past and expect a future. You cannot ignore your calling and expect peace. This is why everything feels heavy. This is why everything feels off. You are carrying the weight of who you are not meant to be anymore. You are dragging pieces of a past version of yourself that has already expired. You are forcing yourself into rooms that God is trying to push you out of. You are holding on to relationships whose time has finished, habits that are poisoning you, environments that are shrinking you, and identities that you have outgrown. And when these things begin to crumble, you call it misfortune. But it is not misfortune. It is mercy. God will break what you refuse to release. God will dismantle what you cling to out of fear. God will disrupt what you settle for when He knows you were made for more. You can call it chaos. You can call it unfair. You can call it confusion. But often, the most painful moments in your life are the direct result of God refusing to let you destroy yourself slowly. If you refuse to grow, life will force you. If you refuse to let go, life will tear things away. If you refuse to move forward, life will remove the ground beneath you. Because you were not created to stay small, scared, and stagnant. You were not created to hide behind your insecurities. You were not created to curse your circumstances while doing nothing to change them. You were not created to merely survive the days as they pass. You were created to rise, to fight, to transform, to overcome. To serve, to build, to influence, to endure, to awaken. But if you refuse to awaken willingly, you will awaken painfully. Every warning ignored becomes a wound. Every truth avoided becomes a test. Every comfort zone becomes a cage. And the more you resist the calling on your life, the louder the consequences will become. You think the battles in your life are punishment, when in reality they are preparation. You think the pressure around you is cruelty, when in reality it is construction. You think the setbacks are rejections, when in reality they are redirections. Everything that feels like it is breaking you is actually shaping you, sharpening you, rebuilding you, and purifying you. But here is the part no one likes to admit: transformation requires discomfort, and most people would rather stay broken comfortably than be healed painfully. You want strength, but you fear struggle. You want purpose, but you fear sacrifice. You want clarity, but you fear change. And life doesn't reward fear. Life rewards commitment. Life rewards resilience. Life rewards intention. God rewards movement, obedience, boldness, and discipline. You cannot ask for a breakthrough while living like a bystander. You cannot ask for elevation while clinging to mediocrity. You cannot ask for strength while nurturing your weaknesses. You cannot ask for guidance while ignoring every sign you've already been given. The warning is simple: wake up. Wake up from the illusions you've protected. Wake up from the lies you've repeated. Wake up from the story you tell yourself about why you can't change, why you can't grow, why you can't heal, why you can't become more. You are not a victim of fate. You are a victim of your own refusal to rise. You are not trapped by circumstances. You are trapped by hesitation. The chains holding you in place are not physical, they are mental. They are emotional. They are spiritual. And the only reason they still exist is because you keep feeding them. Every time you choose fear, they tighten. Every time you choose comfort, they strengthen. Every time you choose doubt, they multiply. And then you ask why life feels suffocating. But you are the one tightening the grip. You have to understand something: purpose demands a price. Growth demands a price. Becoming who you're meant to be demands a price. And the cost is everything small, weak, lazy, fearful, doubtful, and shallow inside you. You don't pay in money. You pay in effort. You pay in discipline. You pay in honesty. You pay in sacrifice. You pay in discomfort. You don't get to keep your excuses and have your destiny. You don't get to keep your laziness and have your greatness. You don't get to keep your distractions and have your clarity. You don't get to keep your pride and have your transformation. Something has to die for something greater to live. And if you refuse to choose what dies, life will choose for you. This is the meaning behind the warning: wake up or be broken. Wake up and let go, or be broken until you have no choice. Wake up and rise, or be broken until you can no longer deny what you were created to become. You cannot outrun the truth. You cannot hide from the calling on your life. You cannot bury your potential deep enough that God cannot dig it out. Every step you take away from purpose becomes a storm waiting to meet you. Every compromise you make becomes a consequence following your path. Every moment you waste becomes a debt you will eventually have to pay. And the cost of wasted time is always paid in pain. You know this already. You've lived the consequences of ignoring your intuition. You've suffered the cost of choosing comfort over courage. You've seen what happens when you settle for less than you're worth. And yet, even after all of that, you still hesitate. You still stall. You still allow fear to write your story. It's time to stop. It's time to confront the truth, the real truth, not the softened version you tell yourself to feel better. You are powerful, but you have been acting powerless. You are capable, but you have been living like someone who has no control. You are chosen, but you have been acting like someone who is lost. You are meant for more, but you have been settling for whatever is easiest. And life will no longer tolerate your laziness disguised as uncertainty, your fear disguised as caution, your pride disguised as independence, your avoidance disguised as patience. God is not confused about your purpose. You are. And the confusion comes from your refusal to commit. This is the moment where you decide who you will become. Not next year. Not after another failure. Not after another heartbreak. Not after you feel ready. Readiness is a fantasy. Courage is the real requirement. And courage is built through movement, not motivation. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to act. You need to disrupt the patterns you've repeated for years. You need to dismantle the excuses you've built altars around. You need to break the habits that have kept you living small. And you need to do it now, not because time is running out, but because your life is. The longer you stay asleep, the more pieces of yourself you lose. The longer you ignore the warning, the more damage accumulates. And eventually, the cost becomes unbearable. There is a version of you that terrifies your fear, that humiliates your excuses, that dismantles your doubts, that silences your insecurities. That version is not built through comfort. It is built through confrontation. It is built through sacrifice. It is built through sleepless nights, hard choices, and relentless discipline. It is built by becoming the kind of person who refuses to break under pressure because they have learned to use pressure as fuel. It is built by becoming the kind of person who stops negotiating with their lower self. It is built by becoming the kind of person who hears God's warning and chooses transformation over destruction. You want to know the most powerful truth? It's this: everything you need is already inside you. Everything you lack is already on its way. Everything you fear is already weaker than your potential. Everything you dream is already aligned with your assignment. But none of it manifests if you stay asleep. None of it appears if you stay passive. None of it becomes real if you stay afraid. You have to declare war on everything inside you that resists growth. You have to break the patterns before they break you. You have to kill the excuses before they kill your future. You have to stop mistaking comfort for safety. Comfort is the slowest form of destruction. Wake up. Wake up from the idea that your life will magically improve without your commitment. Wake up from the fantasy that someone will rescue you. Wake up from the delusion that time will wait for you. Wake up from the belief that fear protects you. Wake up from the lie that change is optional. There is no more room for passivity. There is no more room for hesitation. There is no more room for halfway effort, halfway faith, halfway discipline. This is the season where God is separating who you were from who you must become. And transition is never gentle. Transition is pressure, friction, breaking, reshaping. But on the other side of pain is clarity. On the other side of discipline is power. On the other side of surrender is transformation. The truth is simple: if you do not choose to rise, life will choose to break you. Not because God wants to harm you, but because He refuses to let you die sleeping. You were created for purpose too powerful to be wasted. You were created for greatness too heavy to be carried by excuses. You were created for strength too deep to align with weakness. This warning is not a threat. It is an invitation. An invitation to become unstoppable. An invitation to step into the life you keep imagining. An invitation to finally be who you were always meant to be. Wake up before life breaks what you refuse to fix. Wake up before consequences become irreversible. Wake up before opportunities expire. Wake up before you look back and realize you slept through the most important season of your life. Wake up, because God is not done with you. Wake up, because greatness is waiting for you. Wake up, because your future is demanding you. Wake up, because the world needs what you carry. Wake up, because destiny doesn't wait for the indecisive. Wake up, because this is your moment. Wake up, or be broken. The choice is yours, but the consequences are not. Wake up, because the longer you wait, the deeper the damage becomes. Wake up, because every second you hesitate is a second stolen from your own future. Wake up, because you were not created to crawl through life pretending you are powerless. Wake up, because the fire inside you is not dead, it's suffocating under the weight of your excuses. Wake up, because God didn't invest breath, purpose, strength, pain, lessons, and miracles into you for you to waste them on fear. Wake up before life has to hit you harder than you can handle. Wake up before the warning turns into loss. Wake up before the door closes. Wake up before the opportunity becomes someone else's blessing. Wake up before the consequences become permanent. Wake up because this is your last gentle call before the breaking begins, and understand this clearly: the world doesn't need a weaker version of you. It needs the unstoppable one. The disciplined one. The fearless one. The one who refuses to bow to fear, excuses, or laziness. The one who rises even when everything around them tries to pull them down. The one who listens when God speaks, even if it shakes their entire life. The one who chooses transformation over destruction. The one who refuses to sleep through their destiny. So this is the line in the sand. This is the moment where you either step forward or stay broken. No more pretending you don't know what to do. No more blaming life for the choices you avoid. No more waiting for a sign when the warning is already shaking your soul. Stand up. Rise. Move. Break the chains you've fed for years. Become the force you were designed to be, because at the end of it all, the truth remains the same: wake up, or be broken.